Welcome to a new episode of the Crystal Clear podcast series that is hosted by Crystalloids. I am Jean-Marie and I'm a solutions engineer here at Crystalloids, and I'm joined here with Gabriella. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. Nice seeing you. My name is Gabriela, and I'm here to help you see how an agent works. I'm a developer. So we're going to go through everything as Jean-Marie is going to be explaining.
Yes. So today we will go deep into some code. So if you're ready, you can strap in. It will be quite a technical session. We will go through how to build an AI agent, how to start it up. Maybe we'll get to deployment. We'll see. Okay, so let's start with our use case. So imagine you want to buy some chairs and you go into a furniture shop. You go in and you are just overwhelmed by variety. So you go in and you are looking for maybe a dark wood. You go in and you see all of these different types of chairs, tables, and you just want to know, is that chair available in the type of wood I want? You go to a shop assistant and the dreaded answer comes up where they say, let me go ask a colleague. They turn around, they walk away, and you're left wondering when they'll be back. Maybe after 5 or 10 minutes, you just decide to leave, and they lose a sale, and you go somewhere else. Sometimes shop assistants have some sort of technology to quickly search, but most of the time, it is all stuck in some kind of software where they also need to find information out of the data. So we are going to build an AI assistant to the shop assistant that will help them search for information in a fraction of the time. I want to be able to ask a shop assistant, is this chair available in walnut? And I want them to give me an answer. I want them to tell me, if it's not available in walnut, do they have another store where it's available in walnut? So that's what we're going to build today. Let's get started. So our use case will be based on a company that has data inside of BigQuery. So inside of the Google Cloud platform, they are using BigQuery as their data warehouse. So everything is set up there, their foundation is solid, and we can start building agents because their foundation is solid, because the data is clean enough, and because everything is set up correctly. So we will use a Python framework called Agent Development Kit, so that is ADK for short from here on, and Gabby will show us how it's built. I think we can get right into it.
First, I want to share a little bit about the ADK, like why are we using this, and showcase the default structure that you have to add in the code, because they already give you like a preset that you can use yourself. So here what we're seeing at the moment is the ADK agent. So they have a GitHub repository in which you can follow all the steps in the documentation. So at the moment what we're seeing here is how to define a single agent. So we are jumping already a little bit on the technical, but it's also for you to have like a guidance when we are going to start seeing the code, that you start putting like all those dots together. So we have here the root agent, and then it's gonna have like a couple of attributes like the name, which is going to be the name of our search assistant, the model, that is going to be the language model that we're going to be using. For our case, we're also going to be using the Gemini toolflash. Then you're going to give description for your agent. This is basically like what is it going to be doing. And then you're going to give instructions. So this is going to help the agent to follow things, to give him like a little bit of personality, to make it feel a little bit like more human. So this, in a nutshell, is everything that you need to start building an agent, which is quite cool. And then if we jumped on what is it that we need, right? Because in the other one, we were seeing the file of the agent, but also what about the structure, right? After we have installed our ADK, then we're going to have folder structure. And it's quite simple. So you're going to have like a parent folder, and then inside of it, you're going to have your agent, and you're going to have just 3 files. You're going to have the init, because this is going to be a Python folder, and then you're going to have your agent and the environment. Part of what we are also building is not only an agent, but we also want to implement the MCP server, which
Maybe
is...
we should just tell the people what an MCP server is.
Yes, great.
We can go into tech jargon quite easily. So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol.
Yes.
And that is the new standard that companies like Anthropic and Google and everyone is using. How would you say? It's for authentication. It is for...
You can say it's like a middleman, like it's gonna help you to take a lot of responsibilities as you as a developer. So it's gonna take like headaches away. So connection, pool, authentication, monitoring as well. So it's with quite an easy setup, and this is also a framework, so you also need to install it, and it's quite simple.
Will it also fix my business models so that everyone uses the same logic, and it will also have a little bit more of a deterministic flavor to my agents, right?
Yes, yes. In this case, we're gonna be using the MCP toolbox. So this means we're gonna be using an MCP server. I want to dive a little bit on this diagram that we are seeing at the moment. So we can imagine that the MCP toolbox is going to be like a bridge between my agent and my databases. So here actually you see like all the things that is supporting at the moment, which is really nice. So what is the MCP going to do for us is to help us to make one file in which we are going to have just a connection for everything, and it's going to make it like super sweet. From the development side, it means that then I can focus more on the logic of the agents, and then I don't need to worry too much on configuration. Under the hood, there are a lot of things that are happening, but we really don't need to know. And we're gonna understand a little bit more once we dive into the code. This is just like for you to have like a nutshell about what is it that we are using and why are we using it. Also, it's really nice if you can check the blog of Google Cloud. It's quite a complete place where it's gonna guide you really nicely. It's gonna also have a quick start for you. So just as the ADK, I also want to show really fast what are the steps that you need to do. So depending on which operative system you have, then you need to install it yourself, and then you need to make a binary executable. And then the magic happens just in one YAML file. And you're gonna have just 3 things here: sources, tools, and the toolsets. Let's take a dive more into that in our own project, but basically that's all that you need to install your MCP server. Okay, so now what I want to share is something that I had recorded earlier in this morning, which is going to be the total project that is going to contain our agent and also our MCP server. So I want us to watch it together. Maybe some questions can pop up from your side, and then we can stop and look into the code, and then those questions can be answered. So first, what we're seeing here are only like the requirements that we need to have a successful environment running. Part of it will be to also have already created a project in our Google Cloud, because you're gonna see how essential this is to make it work. We already had, as you mentioned earlier, we have the dataset of the company Mobilis that has 3 tables: products, stock, and stores.
This is all in BigQuery, right?
Yes, exactly, in BigQuery. So basically that gives us like the perfect land to start working. So we have our agent. We have here the dependencies that we're gonna be using. We are using Poetry right now. At the moment, it's not that important to see what are the dependencies. It's just to have like a big overview if you're curious what we're using. So it's just something more for the eyes. Then you're gonna see that we already have installed here the MCP toolbox. So we have the binary, and then we have the YAML file, which is gonna hold all the logic. We're gonna dive into that a little bit later, but first of all, let's just watch the scaffolding so things start matching. This is exactly the structure that we saw earlier for the ADK. We had the environment, the init, and the agent files, and that's everything that we need. What we're seeing at the moment is the M file, which you need to create by yourself. And all the variables that you're seeing here is what your project needs to run. So we're gonna have our project ID, we're gonna have the dataset, and we are also gonna be specifying which is going to be the store that our agent is going to be using at the moment. Then we have the specification for the toolbox that basically is just to do the server configuration. And lastly, we have the Vertex AI configuration. So if we take a view over our init, so basically it's just call in, go and get everything that is on the M file and let me use those variables. And we are doing here the import of our root agent, which are gonna be like, okay, where is the root agent? We have seen it before, which was part of the default of our ADK setup. So if we go to the agent, then you can see that this was exactly the structure that we were reading before. We have the root agent and we have the attributes that it needs. As part of this file, we also have the calling of those variables from the environment. Then you're gonna have the name of the searcher agent, which needs to match exactly with the folder. As mentioned before, we're gonna be using the model Gemini. And then here we're gonna have a description of the agent, with Jean-Marie had shared us before. So it's gonna be an intelligent floor assistant agent for furniture store, contextual awareness, and BigQuery dataset access. And then we're gonna have so interesting instructions to make it like be a little bit like more smart and feel like a little bit like more human. So you're a helpful furniture store floor assistant working at the store, and there is where we are passing the idea of the store that we had already predefined before in our environment. Also, we add when customer says like, here, the store or our store, he is gonna understand, oh, is the store that we have already preset. And then be friendly and helpful like a real store assistant. So that's it. Now, let's jump into doing the linking. Like, where are we gonna add our MCP toolbox? We're gonna start by the very beginning with the import. So we're gonna need the toolbox seek client. And from that, also, we are going to need to specify the URL for our toolbox, so it can know where to go and deploy this server. That we have done. And now what we're gonna do is to go and do that call, right? We're gonna make the connection with the MCP in our agent. So now this is going to habilitate the communication between them. If you read, it says use the available tools to help customers find products. But if you look at tools at the moment, it's empty. So where are those tools? Let's bring the tools in by the connection of the MCP. So at the moment, we are just going to be a little bit careful, like just do a try catch here, in which we are going to be calling the client, and we are only going to need to send the URL of the server so he knows where to go and deploy himself. And then we are going to create this BigQuery toolset that is going to hold all the toolsets that my toolbox has. So we call the toolbox client, and then we call to this method that it offers the load toolset, and that will be it. Right now, what we are seeing is just like, okay, if you don't find something, so our app is not gonna crash. So nothing more than that, okay? Then, now that I have created the BigQuery toolset, now I can say, okay, on tools, this is going to be the toolset that you're gonna be using. And we're gonna see how this starts making sense. But first, let's check this class that is from the toolbox already. So it's pretty cool. Like if you want to explore a little bit around how toolbox is doing things, the classes are super well documented. In this case, we're only loading the toolset. So what we are doing is just go and say like, okay, you're gonna go and return me the list of toolsets that I have created, that we have defined in our toolbox file. And that's it. So feel free to explore everything that toolbox can offer. Now, here is the part that we have all been waiting for. I hope that you are excited, as I am, when I discovered this. So the toolbox is gonna be composed by 3 parts: sources, tools, and toolsets. So sources has the diagram. If you remember, it had connections to BigQuery and to other engines. So here we are just defining the source name. It's just an identifier, and we are saying the most important thing is BigQuery. And then we are specifying the project of our Google Cloud, which is really important. And believe it or not, this is all you need. This is why this is so precious for developers, because you don't need to break your head thinking on authentication, connectivity, or anything. Just by this simple setup, he is going to know where dataset go and take, and then you're gonna have the tools that is gonna have like a specific job to do, just like in real life, right? And then we already have some that are already specified, and part of the attributes that it has is a description. So if you add a really nice description, that is going to help also the agent to go and look and match faster when you're making a question to it. Now, if we are trying to put things together, for example, we see that here we were calling to load the toolset. And now we see here the toolset. This is the toolset that we are calling, and we see all the list that we were expecting from the sync client. This is the list that it was waiting for. So now we are like super cool. Now the agent has all of these tools that he can go and use when you're gonna make questions to him. So basically we just give like a really good brain to our agent. And I wanted to add one so you can see what is exactly that you need. So in this case, we are just gonna add a list stores ID, and they're gonna have like the same attributes all over. So we're gonna have the kind that is gonna be a BigQuery, right? Because we have specified we're working with a BigQuery engine. And then we're gonna specify the source. So in our case, we only have one source that is the furniture BigQuery source. So he knows, okay, I need to go connect to this data source, and then from there I can start making like my queries. The statement basically is gonna hold your query. Then we're gonna have the description, as I mentioned before, is something that is gonna help the agent to find quickly, to do a match between the question and find the query faster. And here we are just basically doing a query that is gonna bring the stores by this. I can also, I want to send the name, the city, and the address.
So this is actually, sorry to pause,
Yep.
but this is actually a great thing, because if you just connect data to AI, the SQL queries will differ each time.
Yeah.
There's just way too much randomness. But here you actually specify, in this tool, use this SQL
Exactly.
and query the data like this. So each time this type of question gets asked, this type of query gets run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can create as many tools as you want. That's like the beauty of it. And also your toolbox can also have different data sources. So that also gives you like a lot of power, because just on one place centralized, you can have tools that connect to different sources that your agent can't consume. So that's for me like pretty smooth. There is not a lot of like configuration that you need to do, just to be like knowledgeable, like, okay, what is the query that I want to do? What is exactly how I want to filter things? So that is going to give extra points of how smart the agent can be. So now that we had already like built this new tool, what we need is to go and add it to the tool set, and then that's it. Like there is nothing else. Something that is really cool also about the MCP that I forgot to tell is that you don't need to go and deploy your agent every time, because in the agent you are already calling this toolset. So what you will do is that you will refresh your toolbox instead. So if you add 100 of queries, then you can just update your toolbox, and then immediately your agent is going to have those changes as well.
Okay, so now that you've shown us front to back ADK, if another developer wants to build another agent on the same data set, same company, they can reuse your tools?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
Yes. And how would you describe to them how to get started? So you've done it, anything you've learned, anything that you should not have done? What would your advice be for the next person that builds an agent?
Well, to start with, if we want to add the new agent in the same project, then first I think we need to change the structure now that is going to be multi-agent, right? Because that is also part of what this helps is that you don't need to think too much into configuration. So if another developer wants to come and say like, hey, I want to work with the same data set, but I want an agent that is going to be doing something different. So part of the job is going to be already there. He can look if there is some queries that he can reuse to make it work, or if he needs to come and add more tools. So basically, he will just need to come here, add the tool, add the query, and then the structure will change because now we are using the multi-agent, but still it has the same principle that is going to be getting the tools directly from our toolbox. So that's the magic, right? Like if you already have like a strong base, or even if it's a simple one, is the same principle. Actually, this structure or this framework takes a lot of responsibilities away from you. So even if you are not that knowledgeable, you don't need to understand how authentication works, or how the pooling works, or a lot of things. The toolbox is going to take care for you. So I think like if you follow the documentation and see through the code, it's quite easy to follow like where should I come and add something else when everything is already like a strong base, you could say. So do you think we should go and run it and play a little bit with it?
Let's run it. Let's see if it works.
What we need to have now is two terminals, one in which we are going to run our MCP server, and then another one in which we are going to use the ADK web. By the way, you're gonna see in a little bit what ADK web is, but basically is going to provide you like an UI that you can use to chat with your agent. So you can also do it by console, but for the experience, I think it's like nicely. And then we're gonna see like all the things that it also offers for us. So should we start trying the agent?
Yes, this is the UI for the ADK, right?
Yes, exactly.
And we can surface this in any way. It doesn't have to be in the ADK UI. We can take it to Agent Space, which is a Google SaaS solution for your agents. We can also put it into a widget on our website. We can put it into a chat wherever we want to.
Yeah.
But this is just for testing purposes.
This is just
what we see right here.
Yeah, just for the interaction and to see what's the flow, which tools it is using. But I think later on maybe you can show a little bit of those other tools. So let's start making some questions.
Can I ask questions?
Yes. Tell me, what should we ask to it?
So we started off the episode by asking about chairs.
Yeah.
So let's continue that trend. Ask if it's got the Scandinavian chairs in walnut or something like that.
Okay. So do we have the Scandinavian themed chair in walnut?
Yes.
So here we see it thinking.
But this one will pop up in a different UI. This is just for ADK.
Exactly.
Like where it goes so that we can follow while we're doing dev.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So here we see that the answer is like, I don't see walnut has a color option for this chair. However, we do have it in natural, white oak, and dark oak. So it says, okay, in this store we do have a natural. Would you like to see the natural version? And then it's gonna give you also like where is it located. So
okay, this is great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's ask it another question.
Maybe following the walnut, we can say, show me all the walnut products available.
Yes, sure. If this person wants walnut, let's give him something else.
He wants walnut, so let's see. So now we see that it's going to go and search by color. So, okay, here at the store, we have the extendable dining table in walnut.
Okay.
Tells you where it is, and also tell you that there is another product, has the platform bed frame in walnut, but it is in another store. So this is quite cool to see. Like, you can ask questions, and in this case, he's saying like, okay, I'm just gonna go and look like for all the walnut, but I'm also gonna tell you in which stores you can find it, and if it's in our store, then in which aisle it is available. So That's pretty great.
So can we also see which tools it use?
Yeah, so you can just simply click here, and this is something like quite nice now that you mention it. So we can see here where we have the searcher agent, and then it's gonna go and use the search by color, right?
Okay, so it's smart enough to know which tool to use for our question.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I think maybe something more general could be, what if the staff wants to also be like more knowledgeable itself? Like,
Yeah.
what do we have like on
So
staff, right?
it's not necessarily a customer asking this question, it's the staff also that asks the questions.
Yeah, I mean, like it could be something that you can play around to see, like, what are the possibilities with the agent. So, what are the chairs? What chairs do we have available? So it's a more like general question. So it's gonna go and look by subcategory and the store, and then it's gonna tell you like, okay, we have several chairs available in our store, and it's gonna tell you which type it has, which colors, and where to find them. So that can also help you maybe when you have like some free time thinking on the stuff, like, oh,
Yeah.
next time like a customer asks, I can already start gaining knowledge. And I think like this is also like some extra points that this agent can bring to the staff. It's like, yeah, you can be like just relying like in the agent, but also if you want to see what's on the store and learn it yourself and where it is, then you can also improve the customer service that you're going to be given.
Yes, but this makes me think of so many other options of agents to build. As a solutions engineer, I'm always trying to find tech solutions to business problems for our clients and our prospective clients. And just showing this makes me think of so many ideas. Like I can just transform this into a educational agent.
Exactly.
Then you don't need as many man hours to train a new employee. It's really a great tool. You don't need 12 years of experience in the store to be able to answer questions. I think this will be a great game changer for anyone coming in expecting 10, 15 minutes to get an answer. But now I can get it instantly.
Yeah, it's also great if you think like business-wise, right? Like then you can have more stores, then you can hire more people, then you can grow faster because you don't invest so much time in teaching. Yeah, so it's definitely a really nice tool.
Yes, and it's an internal AI product used internally at a company, but directly impacts the customer.
Yeah.
So you don't always have to surface your agents to the customer directly. If you want, you can, but some companies are a bit more hesitant. So you start with surfacing your AI agents internally, and it directly impacts the customer and customer satisfaction. Okay, so basically, let's just rewind. What have we done here? We had a use case. We had good data in a data warehouse like BigQuery. We used the ADK to build our agent, and then we also used the MCP to make sure everything is governed correctly, and all of our business logic is there, all of our authentication and security, etc. All the nice things you spoke about. And then also we tested the UI of the ADK. So what is next? So next we can go and we can deploy this. So like I said before, we can deploy it into Agent Space, which is a great enterprise search tool as well. So if you want to say it's an employee's best friend, then maybe they can have some HR documents and things that they can also search. So one space where they can search not only their internal documents, but also their data. So you can search in text and search in data. So one great space to put that. That is what I would recommend. But then some companies don't have that, and they want to do it in their own app or their own website, and they can then deploy it there. So this is a really great way to fast track your AI products and start testing it really in the first week. Just me seeing how fast this was, I'm excited to build so many things.
Yeah, same, definitely.
So I think that's a great place to stop. But I want to ask you one last question. So you are a developer, of course, and we have so many new AI products and tools and helpers and assistants coming out that some developers might feel overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Do you have any encouragement for young developers? Some juniors coming into the workforce feeling overwhelmed with all the AI and all the opportunities, because sometimes we can get so excited about all of the opportunities, but then that brings some fear as well.
Yeah.
Anything from you?
But you mean like fear more like in which sense? Like there is too much knowledge out there that you don't know like where to start?
Yes.
Well, I think definitely like approach will be just building a simple agent. Like just go and test around ADK. I think like starting from there, playing a little bit, and even like you can use it in your own work, because you can also build like agents for development. So maybe in that way you can close fear of the unknown, right? I think if we base it in what we saw today, building just a simple agent is really simple, and it's gonna give you like a really gigantic playground for you to think, if I can build an agent, what can I do? What would I like to see? And then you can customize it as for personal things or for work. Once you start like diving in what you fear the most, then you're less scared, and then in that way like you can use it in your own advantage.
So my takeaway to that is just get started.
Just get started.
Just download the repo and go.
Yeah.
I think that's great advice. And thank you for everyone who tuned in, in whichever format you did. We really appreciate the time you took to sit through technical episode like this. We hope to see you again on the Crystal Clear podcast. Bye.